As a parent, you're always taking care of your kids. Who's taking care of you? Self-care strategies for parents. Today at Live on Purpose TV. We're so busy taking care of our kids. Sometimes we neglect one of the most important things about taking care of ourselves, which seems kind of important because who else is going to do it?
Right.
If not us. That really is one of our number one jobs. And I've shared this example many times before about when you're flying on an airplane and the oxygen mask. So we all know that example. You put your own mask on first. This is so true in parenting, Vic.
Yeah, we have to find ways to take care of ourselves. But it's so tricky because parenting is an all-consuming job.
We've got a lot of ideas. We're going to share some of them here with you today, starting with be intentional about this. Don't expect your kids to just offer you, oh, mommy, do you need a little bit of you time? Could you use just a little downtime for a minute?
Yeah.
We'll just take care of ourselves for a bit. That's unreasonable, right? So you need to plan for and make arrangements for and get it on your schedule to do some kind of respite care.
Now, it's surprising. A lot of the times there are other mothers in your community who are feeling similar. I've seen a lot of moms that they do a couple of different things. Maybe they'll have a group. I used to do this with some friends. Everybody would bring a sack lunch for their kids and the moms would have a nicer lunch together and they'd all play. But then we'd also do other times where we trade kids so that I can have my very own time. And then other times that I'll take their kids so that they can have their very own time. And this brings up an important part. You not only want to find ways to, I think sometimes you just need to be alone. Find ways to be alone, but also find ways to connect with other adults because it can get really hard in parenting unless you reach out and become, foster some friendships, especially with someone who might have children in a similar stage and age as you have.
I'm over here chuckling just a little bit because of experiences that we've had, and I know you probably have too. I remember when our son was, I think, 3. Vicki was in another room trying to have a little bit of alone time. You're remembering this now. She said, honey, I just need a little privacy. Well, he comes trotting out to me. I'm in the other room, and he says, Daddy, Mommy needs privacy. Where is it? He's 3, right? I said, go back and tell her it's all gone.
I do remember that time.
Because it can feel that way sometimes, right?
Yeah, it really can.
Get intentional about how you're going to structure that. And it's not going to happen by default. Right. So be intentional, plan it, work it into your day, work it into your plan. This is important for your kids. And if you feel selfish doing it, remember the very best thing you can give your kids is a healthy, happy mom.
Right. Or dad.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these ideas are how to get away on your own, but I think that with our children, we need to find ways to bring some relief to ourselves while we're in the active act of parenting, because that's the majority of our day. Right. So one of the things I was thinking of, a lot of women find respite by journaling. Just talk about your feelings. Take a few minutes to journal. And that's a really good way to take care of yourself.
And this could be while the kids are
while they're
watching
watching
or
something or playing something,
or
you've gone outside. A lot of times I used to go sit on the stairs and watch the kids play and do my own thing. Mm-hmm. Another one is playing some music. Have some light-hearted, fun music playing in the background. Mm. Usually that cheers me up to hear some upbeat music.
I think that has some developmental benefits to the child as well. Music is an interesting thing. Now, let me put in a little caution here because sometimes we just want to match our mood with our music. So if we're feeling angry, we want to listen to some angry music, right? This is typically what we gravitate toward. Be aware that music has the power to change your mood. And sometimes you can choose the music on purpose that matches the mood you want to set.
Right.
Now, it won't feel natural right at first because, I'm in a bad mood. I don't want to listen to this happy music. But what happens is that music will help to retune you, shall we say, to a new frequency. And it can be a way to elevate your mood.
Mm-hmm. Another thing you can do is go for a walk. Now, if you can do this in nature, it's even better. But go out and go for a walk.
Get outside.
Yeah, get outside. You know, there are a lot of the times that I used to just use walking, either with a friend or with my kids. I've done it before where I've had the kids in the stroller. I think even one time I brought my own stroller. My kids were in school, but my friend had 2 toddlers, so we would go walking and I'd push one. But I think if you can go for a walk, get some physical movement in, and the outdoors do wonders to our soul. So get outdoors when you can.
The car doesn't count, by the way.
Yeah.
If you can, well, I can see outdoors, right? Get out, breathe some air, move your body around. This has a lot of physiological benefits, which have a direct impact on your psychology as well. Right. And your kids are going to enjoy it.
Now, another one is finding a hobby you like. This is really tricky because I think sometimes your hobbies have to morph with your stage, your kid's stage, your stage of life. But find a hobby. Find something that you enjoy. I remember my mom telling a story how when she was my mom had 6 kids in 9 years, I think it was. So there was a lot of kids. And she was just kind of going crazy. And she used to love needlework, handwork, anything. And she said, I'm not going to do it. I just don't have time for it anymore. And after about, I think it was like 3 weeks, my dad came to her and said, you need to do some needlework. Because she wasn't behaving the way she normally would.
If mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Yeah. So find some sort of hobby that you enjoy, even if it's for a small little something, but find something you can enjoy.
You bring up an important point, Vicki, because many of the things that we're sharing with you are going to take some effort.
Yeah.
And some intentional, purposeful action to pull it off. Because I was just going to come in with my next point, which is get some regular exercise.
That is a hard one.
It is. When are you going to do that? Well, that's a pretty good question. And make sure it's a question, because sometimes our questions get turned into statements disguised as questions. When am I going to do that? Like, you can't, right? Just notice if that's where your mind went with it. It's a pretty good question. When am I going to do that?
Which goes back to one topic that we have constantly talked about, and that is build a community. Whoever your community, because they might help you get to the point where you can take a few minutes for the exercise.
So your community might include your spouse if you're married. It might include neighbors. Whoever it is that's on your team, you collaborate with them. Well, I want to do this myself. Really? Can we just get past needing to do it ourselves? We're not the toddlers, all right? They're the ones that let me do it myself. No, use your team. You are doing it yourself if you engage your team or your resources to allow you to do this.
Right.
It is you that's doing it, and it's going to take some work. It's worth the effort. And I could even share studies with you about how taking time for yourself or exercising regularly actually increase your productivity. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to do more and better if you'll do these things than you can do without them. So don't get stuck in that trap of, oh, when would I do that? Make sure it's a question. When would I do that? And then get to work on it.
You know, another thing that really helps us boost our energy and how we're feeling is actually to do just do something small, but do some sort of small, kind act. Now, it could be as quick as just like writing a note for a friend or taking a plate of cookies to someone. And you'll be surprised at how much that fills your bucket to just do something small. Now, I know you moms are so busy. Don't overdo it. Don't, put yourself way out on the ledge or do something huge or outlandish. Just something small. Find some way. You'll find that you feel better if you just reach out to someone in an act of service or kindness.
This changes the focus and actually enhances your own mental health. And so this is almost paradoxical.
Yeah.
Because to really take good care of ourselves, we need to forget about ourselves a little bit and reach out. Moms do this all the time, but it's usually within the realm of me and my children here, right? So we're talking at this stage about looking beyond that to your community, to people who could really benefit from a little plus from you.
Another thing you can do, now this kind of sounds interesting, but maybe it's okay to just give yourself permission to have a blue moment.
They're going to happen, aren't they?
Yeah, so go ahead and plan for it and say, I'm going to go ahead and feel blue for the next 12 minutes. I don't know, whatever works for you. And just give yourself a moment to feel blue. Sometimes we try so hard to be someone we're not. Go ahead and be in the moment if that's what your blue is. And then plan for another something. One way maybe to counteract that is choose one thing during the day, one thing that you're going to have to do either way, or that you're going to get to do, and just really savor it. Maybe you're going to really savor your shower this morning. That is the one thing I am going to savor, my shower. You might have to lock the door, but you're going to savor your shower. Or maybe you're going to savor one other activity that you get to do, or the drive. After you've dropped off your child, you're going to savor that quiet moment driving back home.
When you say savor, Vicki, that brings to mind conscious, mindful, being present in the moment. I remember a time when our kids were little and I was doing the dishes. This was at a time we didn't even have a dishwasher. And I remember thinking, because one of my coaches had told me, hey, be present, be in the moment. If you're doing the dishes, enjoy doing the dishes. And I'm like, what? Is that even possible? But it's really interesting when you bring yourself to that present moment. So whatever task you're doing, you can put yourself into that savoring mode by being very present and conscious and aware. And so as I'm doing the dishes, I'm feeling that warm water on my hands and thinking, oh, that feels nice. And I'm noticing the dishes as they glisten as I take them out of the rinse. Well, I know this sounds a little nutso, but you're doing so many very mundane, routine things every day. Be in the moment, savor that, enjoy the present, which brings me back to the thing that I wanted to kind of wrap up with here today, and that's a perspective. This is a time, this is a season of your life and of your kids' lives. And by the way, this is their childhood.
Yeah.
You know how we all go back to, oh, well, in my childhood, this and that happened. This is their childhood. And they don't get two of them. Yeah. So let's enjoy it, have a perspective that this is a gift. There is a rich experience in front of you every day as you enjoy this stage of life, and stay positive and stay conscious and connected to your kids. Conscious parents make a huge difference. We're going to help take care of you too. We're on your parenting team now. We've got other resources that we would love to share with you. Connect to that right over here with the Parenting Power Up. Does that sound good?
Standing in the street alone.